Welcome to the Everything podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing Class Episode 1. Now, just a quick disclaimer here. This is the second time I've recorded this episode because the first time um, it didn't record all the way through. So that's why I'm obviously recording it again. Obviously, you won't see that first version because it's only half an episode. So instead of me kind of like join them together, I thought I'd just re-record it all over again. So before I get into the cast list and review for Class Episode 1, it is time for the Class trailer. Here it is. That was the trailer for Class. Next up, I'm going to go through the cast list, cast and crew list for Class Episode 1. So here that is. So, first of all, we have Greg Austin as Charlie Smith, Faid Al-Sayed as Ram Singh, Sophie Hopkins as April McLean, Vivian Opera as Tanya Andiola, Catherine Kelly as Miss Andrea Quill, Jordan Renzo as Mateusz Andronensky. Next up is I should mention that Jordan Renzo's Mateusz is the start of the recurring. So Greg Austin, Fadi El Siad, Sophie Hopkins, Vivian Opera, and Catherine Kelly are the main cast, and then from Jordan Renzo onwards, it is recurring. So we have Paul Mark Davis as Corkinus, Pookie Quesnell as Dorothea Ames, who doesn't actually show up in this episode, but will show up later in the season. We have Shannon Murray as Jackie McLean. We have Aaron Neal as Varun Singh, Natasha Gordon as Vivian Andiola, Nigel Betts as Francis Armitage, Con O'Neill as Hugh McLean, Anna Schaffer as Rachel Chapman, and Ben Peel as Coach Tom Dawson. The writer is Patrick Ness, and the director is Ed Balsgett. The synopsis for this episode is when Coal Hill School comes under attack from deadly monsters, four alienated students must form an unlikely alliance to defeat them. But this incursion is only the beginning. Class Episode 1 was released on the 22nd of October 2016. My opinion on this episode is I love the title sequence and I enjoyed the appearance of Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor. My opinion tends to be spoiler free, so I could have written more, but yeah. So here is my review for Class Episode 1. A man is running away from something. The man hides from this with a woman. We have the title sequence. Tanya, Ram, and Charlie arrive at school. Ram bullies Charlie. Charlie finds out about a missing student. April asks for Tanya's help. Charlie asks April about appropriate clothes for tomorrow's prom. Charlie declines April's offer of joining her at the prom. Ram mocks April. Miss Quill insults human intelligence. Tanya, and April talk about Downton Abbey. Miss Quill confiscates Charlie's phone. Miss Quill insults April and Ram. Ram insults Charlie, April, and Tanya. April asks her fellow students to help her put the finishing touch on tomorrow's prom. Charlie informs April that he plans on asking Mateusz as his date for tomorrow night's prom. Ram is on the school's football team. The missing student is called Kevin Williams. Tanya runs away from a shadow. An elderly woman overshares with Tanya. Charlie arrives home. Charlie and Miss Quill live together. Tanya returns home. Miss Quill confesses that she tricked Kevin Williams into killing himself using her gun to Charlie. Um, Tanya uh, completes Ram's homework in return for virtual currency. Ram threatens Tanya. April is attacked by a shadow. Miss Quill warns April. Tanya is also threatened by a shadow. Miss Quill threatens the shadow that attacked April. Charlie saves April from being tricked by Miss Quill. Miss Quill explains her gun to April. Miss Quill and Charlie explain who the Shadowkin are to April. Miss Quill informs April and the Shadowkin that they share a heart. Charlie declines the option of killing the Shadowkin. The Shadowkin disappears. Ram checks in on Tanya. Miss Quill insults April. Charlie tells April that he and Miss Quill are from a different planet. Charlie's species are the Rhodians. Charlie reveals that he is the prince of the Rhodians. Charlie and Miss Quill disagree about the events that took place in their planet. Miss Quill tells April about the creature in her head. Charlie reveals the Rhodians' connection to the Shadowkin to April. Charlie and Miss Quill saved each other from death on their planet. April and one of the Shadowkin can see each other's thoughts. Charlie stops Miss Quill from killing April. April fills in Ram and Tanya about Charlie and Miss Quill being from a different planet. April's mother reassures April. Charlie witnesses Mateusz arguing with his parents. Mateusz kisses Charlie. Charlie, Mateusz, and April arrive at the prom. Charlie checks in on April. Charlie references the episode's title. Ram's girlfriend checks in on him. Ram and his girlfriend arrive at the prom. Tanya also arrives at the prom. Mateusz asks Charlie for help with April when she sees where the Shadowkin are. Ram's girlfriend is killed. Charlie shoots at the Shadowkin. Ram fights the Shadowkin that killed his girlfriend. The Shadowkin Ram is fighting with amputates one of Ram's legs. April stands up to the Shadowkin. Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor appears. The Doctor introduces himself to the Shadowkin. Miss Quill called the Doctor to ask him for his help. The Doctor explains the Cabinet of Souls to April, Mateusz, and Tanya. April threatens the Shadowkin. The Doctor uses Sonic to make the Shadowkin vanish. One of the Shadowkin captures April. Ram uses a chair to set April free and make the last Shadowkin disappear. Ram collapses. The Doctor remembers Kara Oswald, one of his previous companions. The Doctor gifts Ram a prosthetic leg. Miss Quill insults Charlie, April, Ram, Mateusz, and Tanya. The Doctor orders Miss Quill to help Charlie, April, Ram, Mateusz, and Tanya. The Doctor insults the media studies exams. The Doctor's TARDIS dematerializes. Ram returns home. Charlie apologizes to April. April returns home. Tanya returns home. Tanya checks in on Ram following his girlfriend's death at the hands of the Shadowkin. Charlie and Miss Quill return home. Charlie explains his responsibility to Miss Quill. Charlie lies to Miss Quill about the cabinets of souls being empty. And the episode finishes off with a next time trailer for episode 2. A next time trailer slash a trailer for episode 2. So yes, that is my review of Class episode 1. So you will have noticed, hopefully, that there is 2 episodes coming out each day at the moment. So one episode will be animated by Matthew, and one episode will be like this one, with posters and videos and trailers and yeah. But yes, so let me know what you thought about Class episode 1. If you watched it, my review. If you didn't, you can do both those things in the comments below as well with any TV show or movie suggestions, as well as anything that you might want me to cover that's not TV. Just remember, it is called the Everything Podcast. It's just tied primarily to TV stuff. But if there's anything else you want me to do, put that in the comments below as well. Remember, you can also like, comment, subscribe, and that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye. Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode, I'm reviewing Class Episode 2. Now, this episode is going to be a bit shorter than all of the other episodes, both the animated and non animated episodes, and that's because when I did the trailer, and obviously included it in the episode 1, it got blocked, so I then had to remove it so you could see my review of episode 1. So there's not going to be the trailer for Class in any of the Class reviews. I've managed to sort it out with Doctor Who by using the Disney Plus trailer instead of the BBC trailer. But yeah. But yes, so it's obviously going to be a little bit shorter. So we're not going to have a trailer, so we're actually going to jump straight into the cast list for Class in general. I won't be saying season 1 because there's only one season of it. So it stars Greg Austin as Charlie, Fayed Al-Said as Ram, Sophie Hopkins as April, Vivian Opera as Tanya, Catherine Kelly as Miss Quill. And that's kind of all the main cast, with the recurring cast including Jordan Renzo as Mateusz, Paul Mark Davis as Corkinius, Pookie Quesnel as Dorothea, Shannon Murray as Jackie, Natasha Gordon as Vivian, Nigel Betts as Francis, Cole O'Neill as Hugh, Anna Schaffer as Rachel, and Ben Peel as Coach Dawson. The writer of Class Episode 2 was Patrick Ness, with the director being Ed Basilgate. The synopsis for Class Episode 2 is that Ram struggles to cope following the events at the prom, isolating himself from the others, but when the school is faced with a dreadful new threat, the gang must unite to fight it. Class season, well, not season 1, Class Episode 2 was released on the 22nd of October 2016. My opinion of this episode is I loved how everyone checked in on Ram, and I enjoyed seeing Ram stand up to Coach Dawson, and I liked the scenes between everyone. And now, here is for Class Episode 2. We have the previously recap, and then Coach Dawson is getting change. Charlie, April, and Tanya reach out to Ram. Ram participates in football training. Coach Dawson gives Ram advice. Ram's father checks in with Ram. Someone kills someone. Ram notices blood. Coach Dawson startles and insults Ram. Coach Dawson has a shower and speaks to his dragon tattoo. We then have the title sequence. Charlie, Tanya, and April discuss the events of the prom as well as Ram's well-being. Miss Quill is informed of a school inspection. Ram insults and bullies Charlie, whilst Charlie attempts to check in on him. April and Charlie stand up for Ram to Miss Quill. Ram doesn't appreciate this. Ram finds out that he's no longer on the first team for the school, the football team, that is. He has been demoted to the school's second team. Ram smokes. Ram encounters a dragon looking creature. Ram hides from this creature. Ram tells Tanya about the dragon looking creature. Ram shows Tanya where he saw the dragon looking creature. Tanya reminds Ram that he is a good person. Coach Dawson finds Tanya and Ram. Tanya and Coach Dawson insult each other. Coach Dawson tells Ram and Tanya to leave. Coach Dawson speaks to Dragon Tattoo again. Ram attends another football training session. Ram snaps at his father. Tanya returns home. Miss Quill tells Charlie about an officer inspector. Tanya tells Ram about her father's death. Miss Quill throws something at the Ofsted inspector. Miss Quill believes the Ofsted inspector is evil. April, Charlie, and Tanya talk about Ram. Charlie learns what folk music is. April and Tanya argue about Ram. Coach Dawson insults Ram. Tanya, Charlie, April, and the school's head teacher are threatened by the dragon-looking creature. The dragon-looking creature kills the head teacher. Charlie reminds Miss Quill about the doctor's orders. Ram remembers Rachel. Charlie draws the dragon-looking creature. Tanya tells Ram about the head teacher being killed. Charlie, Ram, Tanya, and April discuss the dragon-looking creature. Miss Quill seems to fancy Coach Dawson. Miss Quill threatens the officer inspector. Miss Quill snogs the officer inspector. Charlie doesn't know who Coach Dawson is. Miss Quill and the officer inspector meet and run away from the dragon-looking creature. Charlie locates Coach Dawson. The officer inspector is a robot. Coach Dawson makes a deal with the dragon-looking creature. The dragon-looking creature kills Coach Dawson. Ram wanted the dragon-looking creature to kill him. April plays the violin. Ram practices football. Ram tells his father about his prosthetic leg and the events of the past 2 episodes. Ram and his father reminisce. Miss Quill finds out about the governors. The episode finishes off with a trailer for episode 3, which a review should be coming out, I would imagine, hopefully in the next week. But if not, obviously it'll come out at some point. So yeah, as I mentioned at the start of this episode, with the trailer getting blocked whenever I upload it in an episode, there's kind of no point doing that. So yeah. So let me know what you thought about Class Episode 2 if you watched it. Mara, if you didn't, you can put your thoughts on both of those in the comments below. Is anything you want me to cover on the show? It could be a TV show or a movie suggestion or something completely different. Like, for example, I've had a suggestion which I'm sorting out at the moment about reviewing a book or a comic. It's just me figuring out what exactly I'm going to review for that. But yes, and also remember, you can like, comment, and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye. Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode, I'm going to be reviewing Class Episode 3. This will be the last universe review minus the previews and reviews for Doctor Who Season 1. Like, anything older is being put on pause, which I will explain actually in tomorrow's non-animated episode. There is a reason for it. I'm not just doing it for no reason. There is a reason. But yeah, but without further ado, let's look at the cast list, because the trailer will get copyright blocked like it did for episode 1. So obviously, similar to Rob Beckett's Smart TV, these episodes are going to be a little bit shorter. So it stars Greg Austin as Charlie, Faid Al-Sayed as Ram, Sophie Hopkins as April, Vivian Opera as Tanya, and Catherine Kelly as Miss Quill. So they're the main cast. Joining them in the supporting cast or guest cast, we have Georgian Renzo as Mateusz, Paul Mark Davis as Corkenius, Pookie Quesnell as Dorothea, Shannon Murray as Jackie, Natasha Gordon as Vivian, Nigel Betts as Francis, Con O'Neill as Hugh, Anna Schaffer as Rachel, and Ben Peel as Coach Tom or Coach Dawson. The writer of this episode is Patrick Ness, with the director being Ed Balsgett. The synopsis for this episode is: when London is infiltrated by a powerful alien, an unexpected visitor comes to Tanya's window. The team must battle his strangely threat to stop being lost forever. Class Episode 3 was released on the 29th of October 2016. And my opinion on this episode is I love the scenes between Matesh and Charlie. I like the scenes between April and Ram, and I enjoyed seeing Miss Quill not care that Matesh has moved in with her and Charlie. But without further ado, here is my review for Class Episode 3. We have the previously recap, or a previously recap, should I say, and several scenes from Tanya's life are shown, including the day her father died. Today is the 2-year anniversary of Tanya's father's death. Tanya's father appears. We then have the title sequence. Tanya speaks to her father. Tanya's father is an alien of some description. Matesh meets up with Charlie. Matesh's parents have kicked Matesh out. Ram practices kicking a ball. April is playing a song on the violin, the same title as this episode. Ram asks April for help with his physics homework. Matesh tells Charlie about the events leading to his parents kicking him out. Miss Quill contemplates the events depicted in the Hunger Games being reality. Obviously, the Hunger Games is a book and it's a movie franchise as well. Obviously not real. Miss Quill hears multiple knocks all around the house. Ram also hears these knocks. Miss Quill's real name is Andrath. Tanya says good night to her mother. Rachel appears. Miss Quill also has a dead visitor, similar to how Ram sees Rachel and Tanya sees her father. Miss Quill's visitor is her sister. Tanya's father, Rachel, and Miss Quill's sister are all members of an alien race known as the Lankin. Ram runs away from Rachel. Matesh tells Charlie that he loves him. Charlie kisses Matesh. Ram sees other people interact with dead relatives like he has with Rachel. Matesh and Charlie sleep together. Charlie tells Matesh how he was used and manipulated on Rhodia. Miss Quill and Tanya are offered to join their dead relatives. Tanya's father remembers why Tanya has the nickname of Puddle. Charlie and Matesh sleep together for a second time. Ram and April meet up. April tells Ram about her father. Ram and April hold hands and kiss. Charlie gets startled by figures that both appear and disappear simultaneously. Tanya still continues to speak to her father. Miss Quill declines the offer from her sister. Miss Quill gets Charlie and Matesh to hack her sister because obviously Miss Quill can't attack people or use weapons specifically. April tells Ram what this episode's title means. Charlie and April communicate about the Lankin. Miss Quill's sister disappears. Charlie informs Miss Quill that Matesh has moved in with them. Ram and April attempt to stop Tanya believing her father. Tanya's father knocks out April and Ram. Ram pleads with Tanya to not join her father. Tanya tricks her father. Miss Quill controls a bus, uses it to stop Tanya's father. Tanya hugs her mother. April, Ram, Tanya, Matesh, and Charlie reunite. Ram and April say goodbye to each other. Tanya's mother tells Tanya how she and her father met. Tanya says goodbye to her father, and the episode finishes off with a trailer for episode 4. That is my review of Class Episode 4. So as I mentioned at the start of this episode, that's the last, previous, I don't even know what to call it, older, not current, Whoniverse, yeah. So the Doctor Who Season 1 preview reviews release at 7 AM GMT. The previews come out on a Friday and the reviews come out whenever I finish them. So there's those will still be coming out. Well, the previews are all recorded, as you will have noticed, because I talk about it a lot in those previews. But the reviews, obviously, the episodes haven't come out yet, so they're not on the channel. But yes, so there's not going to be, and I will explain in the next non-animated episode why. You might have an idea. So maybe if you have an idea about what that reason could be, maybe put that in the comments below. So let me know what you thought of Class Episode 3. If you watched it, if you could put your thoughts on both of those in the comments below, as well with anything else you want me to cover on the channel. It could be a TV show, a movie suggestion, or something completely different. And remember, you can also like, comment, and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye. Welcome. Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode I'm going to be reviewing Class episode 4. But without further ado, let's get to the cast list of Class in general. Actually, so we have Greg Austin as Charlie, Friday Elsiad as Ram, Sophie Hopkins as April, Vivian Opera as Tanya, and Kathleen Kelly as Miss Quill. And that's the main cast, along with the recurring or guest cast of George and Renzo as Mateusz, Paul Mark Davis as Corkinius, Pookie Quesnell as Dorothea, Shannon Murray as Jackie, Natasha Gordon as Vivian, Nigel Betts as Francis, Connor O'Neill as Hugh, Anna Schaffer as Rachel, and Ben Peel as Coach Dawson. This episode was written by Patrick Ness and directed by Philippa Langdale. The synopsis for this episode is that April starts to feel greater effects of sharing her heart with Corkinius, and as the connection strengthens, she vows to reclaim her heart as her own. Meanwhile, something sinister is invading the streets. This episode was released on the 5th of November 2016. My opinion of this episode is I love seeing Charlie explain parents' evening to Miss Quill, like seeing April and Ram get together, and enjoyed seeing April stand up for herself to her father. Without further ado, here's my review of Class episode 4. We have the previous recap and the Shadowkin plan on stealing April's heart. Corkinius attempts and kills one of his attacks and kills one of his fellow Shadowkin after this plan fails. April possesses a Shadowkin weapon. We then have the title sequence. April plays her violin. April subsequently breaks her violin. April is bleeding but immediately heals. April and her mother talk about April's father being released from prison. Charlie nearly catches Mateusz about to open the Cabinet of Souls. Ram eats his breakfast. Ram asks his father to not tell his mother about his prosthetic leg. Ram and his father hug. Charlie shows Mateusz what is truly inside the Cabinet of Souls. April ignores Ram. April regrets ignoring Ram. Dorothea introduces herself to Miss Quill. Tanya is surprised that Charlie has never had to previously attend a parents' evening. April and Charlie attend a lesson. April refers to soldiers as cowards. April argues with some of her and Charlie's fellow classmates. April breaks her locker. April shows Ram the current condition of her locker. Charlie orders Miss Quill to attend his parents' evening with him. April expresses her fear of death to Ram. Ram attempts to reassure April. April's father finds April and Ram choosing to skive one of the lessons. April reminds her father of the law-enforced rules regarding him contacting her. Ram and April stand up to April's father. April attacks her father. Dorothea also finds April and Ram skiving school. Dorothea introduces herself to Ram and April. April and Ram speculate that Dorothea is an alien. Dorothea picks up a weirdly shaped flower. This flower stings Dorothea, as well as causing Dorothea's hand to start bleeding. Charlie explains how the Cabinet of Souls works to Mateusz. Miss Quill spies on this conversation. Ram takes April home. April tells Ram about her mental encounters with the Shadowkin. Ram tries to convince April to tell Charlie, Tanya, Mateusz and Miss Quill about her solo encounters with the Shadowkin. The Shadowkin plan on returning to Earth. April and Ram kiss. Ram and April sleep together. April's mother finds both April and Ram naked. Tanya confronts Charlie about his treatment of Miss Quill. Mateusz notices the increasing amount of flower petals. Dorothea summons Miss Quill for a meeting. Ram introduces himself to April's mother. Ram tells April's mother about April's encounter with her father. April's mother warns Ram what will happen to him if he hurts April. April defends Ram to her mother. April's father overhears Ram having a conversation with Tanya. Dorothea asks Miss Quill about squirrels. Mateusz and Charlie disagree over the Cabinet of Souls. Charlie tells Mateusz a story about the Cabinet of Souls. Tanya tells Mateusz and Charlie about her conversation with Ram about April. Dorothea showcases the mysterious flower petals to Miss Quill. Dorothea asks for Miss Quill's help with dealing with the self-duplicating flower petals. Dorothea promises Miss Quill if she agrees to help her with the self-duplicating flower petals that she can return her free will to her. April's father tells April's mother about April's connection with Corkinius. April breaks a plant pot. April also breaks a door of its hinges. April threatens and attacks her father. April attacks her mother. Charlie, Tanya and Mateusz find Ram, April and April's parents. April's mother can move her legs again. April tells everyone about Corkinius. knowing where she is. In exchange, April knows where Corkinus is. April and Ram transport themselves to the Shadowkin's realm, and the episode finishes off with a trailer for episode 5. Next time on the Everything Podcast, I'll be reviewing episode 5 of Class. Obviously this is episode 4, we're going to do all of that. So there's 8 episodes, so we're at the halfway point. Obviously the first 3 episodes of Class you will find are non-animated, so they will be in a VOD, they'll just look slightly different. So yes, let me know what you thought about Class episode 4 if you watched it, and my review if you didn't. Oh, and that's put both of your thoughts on those in the comments below. I should have mentioned that there's 8 episodes in Class, and then there'll be a further 13 after that for Big Finish Audio. It's audio company, so audio drama based on Class as well. And also in the comments below, let me know what anything you want me to cover on the channel. It could be a TV show or a movie suggestion like we've had in the last episode, which was The Beekeeper. So put those in the comments below, as well as anything else you want me to cover on the channel. It could be a newspaper, it could be a comic, it could be a book, it could be an article, it could be some news about your favourite show or movie. Put all of those in the comments below. And remember, you can also like, comment and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye. Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode I'm going to be reviewing Class episode 5. If you haven't watched yesterday's episode where I reviewed Class episode 4, go check that out. But before we get to my review, here we have the cast list, which will be starting with the main cast followed by the recurring / guest cast afterwards. So we have Greg Austin as Charlie, Fodi El-Sayed as Ram, Sophie Hopkins as April, Vivian Opera as Tanya, Catherine Kelly as Miss Quill, that's the main cast, with Georgian Renzo as Mateusz, Paul Mark Davis as Corkinus, Pookie Quesnell as Dorothea, Shannon Murray as Jackie, Natasha Gordon as Vivian, Nigel Betts as Francis, Con O'Neill as Hugh, Anna Schaffer as Rachel, and Ben Peel as Coach Dawson, and that is the guest cast joining the main cast. The writer of this episode was Patrick Ness, with the director being Philippa Langdale. The synopsis is that battling through the Shadowkin realm, April knows that there is no going back. She has to defeat Corkinus. On Earth, the invasion of the Petals is rapidly snowballing. Confronted with the threat of the planet's extinction, new headmistress Dorothea attempts to force Charlie into making a transformational decision, but Miss Quill has other ideas for her. As Charlie, Mateusz and Tanya try to stop the Petals from annihilating the human race, April must fight the terrifying force of Corkinus light years away from home. This episode was released on the 12th of November 2016. My previous episode is I liked seeing April become king of the Shadowkin, a little bit of a spoiler, but it's a review anyway. Loved how both of April's parents as well as Ram's father reacted to what Ram and April were doing, and enjoyed seeing Charlie choose to do the right thing. But without further ado, here's my review of Class episode 5. We have the previously recap, and Ram attempts to hide from the Shadowkin. April kills one of the Shadowkin. April plans on killing Corkinus. We then have the title sequence. Miss Quill tells Dorothea how powerful the object inside her head is. Miss Quill believes that Dorothea is a robot. Tanya fills in April's parents about April sharing her heart with Corkinus. Miss Quill finds out that Charlie lied to her about the Cabinet of Souls. April fills in Ram about them being on the Shadowkin's planet known as the Underneath. April demonstrates to Ram that they can't return home the way they left. Charlie tells Mateusz, April's parents, and Tanya about a conversation with Miss Quill. Ram references Lord of the Rings. April's parents, Charlie, Mitesh and Tanya, learn the full power of the self-duplicating flower petals. Ram talks to April about his religion. Korakinis knows where April and Ram are. Miss Quill slaps Charlie. Charlie and Miss Quill disagree over Charlie's actions. Tanya tells Ram's father about the events of episode 4. Dorothea suggests a place where April's parents should stay until Ram and April return. Miss Quill reminds Charlie about the true price they both paid due to the actions of the Shadowkin. April's mother and Ram's father argue over Ram and April. Tanya sets the record straight for Ram's father and April's parents. April and Ram kiss. April's mother explains to Tanya what she is feeling. Dorothy attempts to force Charlie to use the Cabinet of Souls by pointing a gun at Mitesh. Mitesh reminds Charlie what kind of person he will become if he chooses to use the Cabinet of Souls. Mitesh sends Tanya a text message whilst continuing to be threatened by Dorothy wielding a gun. April and Korakinis have a sword fight. Mitesh reminds Charlie he isn't alone anymore. Tanya and April's father get April's mother to create a vivid image of April in her head. April and Ram's fathers enter the underneath. April's father explains to April's father explains to April the difference between him and her. April becomes king of the Shadowkin. April puts Korakinis in the Shadowkin's version of prison. Ram and April return home. Tanya fills in April and Ram about the self-duplicating flower petals. Mitesh knocks out Dorothea. April orders the Shadowkin to save Earth and the human race. Charlie chooses to do the right thing and not kill the Shadowkin. Miss Quill destroys a car. Dorothea still plans on keeping to her word and will help Miss Quill get her freedom back. Ram and April say goodbye to each other. April asks her father to leave. April's mother is able to stand up again, and the episode finishes off with a trailer for episode 6. Next time on the Everything Podcast, I'll be reviewing Class episode 6. So let me know what you thought about Class episode 5. If you watched it live, if you didn't, you can put both of your thoughts on those in the comments below, as well with anything else you want me to cover on the channel. It could be a review suggestion for a TV show or a movie, it could be some news, it could be a newspaper, it could be a book, it could be a comic, etc. So put those in the comments below as well. And remember, you can also like, comment and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye. Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode I'm going to be reviewing Class episode 6. But before I get there, it's time for the cast list. So the main cast comprises of Greg Austin as Charlie, Fady Elsiad as Ram, Sophie Hopkins as April, Vivian Opera as Tanya, and Catherine Kelly as Miss Quill. Joining them are the recurring or guest cast, which includes Georgia Renzo as Mitesh, Paul Mark Davis as Korakinis, Pookie Quesnell as Dorothea, Shannon Murray as Jackie, Aaron Neal as Varen, Natasha Gordon as Vivian, Nigel Betts as Francis, Con O'Neill as Hugh, Anna Schaffer as Rachel, and Ben Peel as Coach Dawson. The writer of this episode was Patrick Ness, and the director was Wayne Chi Yip. The synopsis for this episode is that the whole gang are thrown into detention by Miss Quill. Locked in her classroom, they are terrified when an explosion propels them out of space and time, trapped, claustrophobic and floating in blackness with no way of escape. Although a mysterious asteroid fragment may be their key to freedom, it forces the gang to confess the deepest, darkest secrets to one another. As ugly truths come out, fractures start to appear in the friendship group, and then they make a chilling discovery: they're not alone, there's somebody in there with them. Class episode 6 was released on the 19th of November 2016. My opinion episode is I liked how integral truth was in this episode. I enjoyed the opening scene. I love seeing everyone stand up for each other. Without further ado, here's my review of Class episode 6. We have the previous recap, and Miss Quill and Charlie argue over Charlie's time management. Miss Quill locks Charlie, Ram, April, Tanya and Mateusz in her classroom. An explosion takes place within the classroom. Charlie reveals he's claustrophobic. We then have the title sequence. Everyone tries to work out Miss Quill's motivation for locking them all in her classroom. Ram believes Charlie doesn't have any friends apart from him, Tanya and April. Mateusz finds the rock that caused the explosion. Everyone inspects the rock. Ram yells at Tanya. Everyone tries to calm down Charlie. Mateusz picks up the rock and believes he's in Poland. Mateusz reveals he is scared of Charlie. April knocks the rock out of Mateusz's hand. Mateusz confesses to everyone the rock forced him to tell the truth. Ram corrects April several times over the name of the rock. Charlie and Mateusz discuss Mateusz being scared of Charlie. Ram attacks the classroom. April asks Ram about his prosthetic leg. Ram and April also discuss April's mother being in a wheelchair. Everyone attempts to understand the power of the rock. Tanya picks up the rock. Tanya believes that everyone else doesn't want to be friends with her. Tanya calls Charlie Alien Boy. The rock is dangerous and alien. Ram knocks the rock out of Tanya's hands. Charlie expresses how he is really feeling to Mateusz. Mateusz tells Charlie about his experience of learning English. Mateusz references Narnia. Charlie continues to remind everybody else of his claustrophobia. Tanya realises she and everybody else are currently in a prison. April defends Charlie. Ram volunteers to pick up the truth rock. Ram declares his love for April and realises he loves her more than she loves him. Ram faints. Ram wakes up and works out who the prisoner is. Tanya and April discuss the prison. April reminds Tanya how she and everybody else are different in their own unique ways. Everyone argues with each other. Charlie stops everyone from arguing. Mateusz realises that Charlie's having a panic attack. April chooses to pick up the truth rock. April mentions her father's trial. Everyone is out of the realm of time and space. April faints. Charlie saves April from falling to the floor. The prison requires you to not eat or age. Mateusz attempts to convince Charlie to not pick up the truth rock. Charlie reveals he didn't know what a friend was until he met the others. Tanya reminds Charlie that all of them feel like outsiders. Ram and April discuss their love for each other. Ram insults everyone. Mateusz and Ram fight. Charlie confesses that he wants to kill every shadow kin in existence. Charlie picks up the truth rock. The others try to wrestle the truth rock out of Charlie's grasp. Charlie has a nosebleed. Charlie's eyes start to bleed. Charlie expresses his love for Mateusz. Charlie destroys the truth rock. Everyone returns to school. Mateusz helps Charlie to his feet. Miss Quill returns and saves Charlie. Ram runs out of the classroom. Charlie and Mateusz comment on Miss Quill's new appearance, including her being able to wield and fire a gun. Miss Quill hands Charlie the object formerly stuck in her head, forcing Miss Quill to protect Charlie. And the episode finishes off with the episode 7 trailer, which is the penultimate episode of Class. There's only 8 episodes, okay, well, it's not seasons. Next time on the Everything Podcast, I will be reviewing Class episode 7, as I just said, the penultimate episode of Class. So in the comments below, let me know what you thought about Class episode 6. If you watched it, my review. If you didn't, you can put those in the comments below as well, and any other thoughts. So if you would like any any reviews that you would like me to do, so they could be review suggestions, that's the word I was looking for. So it could be a TV show or a movie, it could be a book, it could be a comic, it could be an article, it could just be some news about your favourite TV show. Put those in the comments below as well. And remember, you can also like, comment and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye. Welcome to the Everything podcast, and in this episode I'm going to be reviewing the penultimate episode of Class, which is Class episode 7. But before I get to the review, as usual, we've got the cast list. So the main cast comprises of Greg Austin as Charlie, Fady El-Sayed as Ram, Sophie Hopkins as April, Vivian Opera as Tanya, and Catherine Kelly as Miss Quill. And joining them as the recurring and guest cast are Georgian Renzo as Matesh, Paul Mark Davis as Corkinas, Pookie Quesnell as Dorothea, Shannon Murray as Jackie, Aaron Neal as Varen, Natasha Gordon as Vivian, Nigel Betts as Francis, Con O'Neill as Hugh, Anna Schaffer as Rachel, and Ben Peel as Coach Dawson. The writer of this episode was Patrick Ness, and the director was Wayne Chi Yip. The synopsis for this episode is: with the gang trapped in detention and out of the way, Miss Quill accepts Dorothea's astonishing offer to help remove the arm from her head and to reclaim her freedom. Alongside Ballon, a imprisoned shapeshifter, Miss Quill travels in a metaphysical engine and is taken to impossible, extraordinary and dangerous worlds, collecting materials in preparation for her life-changing procedure. Class episode 7 was released on the 26th of November 2016. My opinion of this episode is I loved how connected this episode was to episode 6, which is the previous episode, and I liked how Miss Quill-centric this episode was, and I enjoyed Miss Quill and Ballon's fight. Without further ado, here's my view of Class episode 7. We have the previously recap. Miss Quill and Dorothea discuss their plan for getting the object out of Miss Quill's head. We then have the title sequence. Miss Quill references Unit. Dorothea introduces Miss Quill and Ballon to each other. Miss Quill, Ballon and Dorothea are transported somewhere. Ballon comments on Miss Quill's aggression. Miss Quill asks Dorothea about their current location. Miss Quill is forced to recount how her mother died. Miss Quill references social media. Miss Quill insults Ballon. Miss Quill learns the truth about the object inside her head. Dorothea, Ballon and Miss Quill are transported somewhere else. Ballon is the one tasked with getting the object out of Miss Quill's head. Ballon is a shapeshifter. Ballon knows where they are. Dorothea forgets that Miss Quill can't possess weapons. Miss Quill reminds Ballon how important fear is. Dorothea gives Miss Quill one last chance to return to school if she would like to. Ballon, Miss Quill and Dorothea land somewhere new. They have landed in Quill Heaven. Ballon and Miss Quill attack a creature. Ballon tells Miss Quill about the circumstances surrounding his capture. Miss Quill tells Ballon about her free will being taken from her. Dorothea, Miss Quill and Ballon return to school. Ballon attempts to get the object out of Miss Quill's head. Ballon is successful. Miss Quill's appearances change. Miss Quill and Ballon kiss. Miss Quill learns where she truly is. Both Ballon and Miss Quill cannot return to the real world. Only one of them can. Ballon is informed of another living member of his species. Dorothea vanishes. Miss Quill and Ballon fight to the death. Ballon unintentionally kills himself. Miss Quill returns to Coal Hill School. Let me just say that sentence again. I don't know what happened there. Miss Quill returns to Coal Hill School. Miss Quill Fate, and the episode finishes off with the episode 8 trailer. Next time on the Everything podcast, I'm going to be reviewing the series finale, or season 1 finale, of Class, which is Class episode 8. So let me know, and there's no trailer for the same reason why there's not been, but in the next episode there will be, and I will talk about that in tomorrow's episode. But let me know what you thought about Class episode 7 if you watched it. My review, if you didn't, you can put both of your thoughts on those in the comments below, as well with anything else you want me to cover in the channel. It could be a TV show or a movie suggestion, or something completely different such as a book, comic, article, or some TV show or movie news you would like me to talk about. Put all of those in the comments below as well, and remember you can also like, comment and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and this episode I will be reviewing Class Episode 8, the series finale, as well as Season 1 finale, or Series 1 finale of TV Class anyway. It'll be my last review, obviously, with it being the finale of the final TV episode. I won't talk about why I'm using these specific words in this episode, but I will in tomorrow's episode, so keep an eye out at the end of that episode to find out why. Let me no. So without further ado, even I got a bit distracted there. Before I get to my review, it's time for the cast list, which is obviously it's identical to how it has been in the other Class episodes because it's the same cast. But just a reminder, if you haven't seen those episodes, go and check them out. There is a playlist on the channel which should actually show up at the beginning and end of the episode anyway. So the main cast, we have Greg Austin as Charlie, Fody Elsiad as Ram, Sophie Hopkins as April, Vivian Opera as Tanya, and Catherine Kelly as Miss Quill. And joining them in the recurring or guest cast, we have Georgian Renzo as Mateusz, Paul Mark Davis as Korakinis, Pookie Quesnel as Dorothea, Shane Murray as Jackie, Aaron Neal as Varun, Natasha Gordon as Vivian, Nigel Betts as Francis, Anna Schaffer as Rachel, and Ben Peel as Coach Dawson. This episode, like all the others, was written by Patrick Ness and was directed by Julian Holmes. The synopsis for this episode is: the gang has splintered, they are alienated and alone, unable to recover from the truths they faced in detention, which is episode 6. Miss Quill is in hibernation, but she is a ticking time bomb, ready for revenge when she wakes. Lost without one another, the gang must reunite when the Shadow can return to Earth, waging a ruthless, unrelenting war. Resolute to take April's heart in the Cabinet of Souls, Korakinis threatens to kill all their loved ones until he has what he desires. Our heroes must fight the Shadow King one last time to protect the Earth and one another from obliteration. Class Episode 8 was released on the 3rd of December 2016. My piss episode is I enjoyed the scenes that focused on Miss Quill's pregnancy, liked the fight sequences, and I loved all of the cliffhangers. Without further ado, here is my final TV episode review for Class. We have the previously recap, and a title jump of 6 days occurs. April does a public performance of her playing the violin. The song April is playing is the same as this episode's title. Ram refuses to pick up the phone to Tanya. April hugs Charlie. Charlie checks on a sleeping Miss Quill. Ram sees his father get murdered right in front of him and helpless to stop his father's death. We then have the title sequence. Ram tells April about his father's death. Charlie and Mateusz discuss Miss Quill. April consoles Ram. Mateusz has been sleeping in his cousin's car. Mateusz and Charlie declare their love for each other. Miss Quill wakes up and screams. Miss Quill learns she is pregnant and will eat her and her unborn child will eat her at some point. Miss Quill asks Charlie for her gun back. Tanya ignores a call from April. Charlie and Mateusz receive a text message from April. Tanya's mother gives Tanya a bowl of soup. Tanya's mother is killed in front of Tanya. Ram plans on convincing Charlie to use the Cabinet of Souls to kill every single Shadow Kid. April reminds Ram of her connection to the Shadow Kid. Korakinis threatens April's mother. Tanya tells Miss Quill about her mother's death. Miss Quill doesn't understand crying. Charlie threatens Korakinis with Miss Quill's gun. Tanya learns that Miss Quill is pregnant. Tanya also wants to convince Charlie to use the Cabinet of Souls. Korakinis remembers who Charlie is. Korakinis threatens Charlie, April, Ram and Mateusz. Charlie, with the assistance of April, learns that if he fires Miss Quill's gun, he dies. Ram remembers his love for April. Charlie aims a gun at Dorothea. Charlie shoots a window. Charlie reminds Dorothea how she nearly caused Miss Quill to die. Dorothea reminds Mateusz and Charlie who the governors are. Miss Quill frights Korakinis. Korakinis vanishes. Charlie explains the reasons behind his actions to Mateusz. Miss Quill doesn't sugarcoat the situation to Tanya. Miss Quill tells Tanya how Quill mothers die. Tanya also asks Miss Quill to show her how to defend herself. Dorothy reminds Charlie of the Shadow Kid's end goal. Miss Quill gives Tanya a self-defense lesson. April leaves Ram a voicemail. Charlie puts a gun at Miss Quill. Charlie reminds Tanya that if he uses the Cabinet of Souls on the Shadow Kid, April dies with them. Mateusz mentions that Charlie will die too. Tanya yells at Mateusz and Charlie. Miss Quill destroys a chair. Korakinis threatens Mateusz. Ram listens to April's voicemail. April says goodbye to Charlie. April agrees to join Corokinas on the condition that no one else is killed. The Shadowkin have invaded planet Earth. April finds out Corokinas' true plan and reveals this to the others. Charlie shoots April and Corokinas. Ram shouts at Charlie. Charlie has become king of the Shadowkin. Charlie returns Miss Quill's gun to her. Charlie denies his love for Matesh. Miss Quill shoots multiple members of the Shadowkin. Tanya and Miss Quill fight the Shadowkin. Matesh continues to plead for Charlie to not use the Cabinet of Souls. Charlie uses the Cabinet of Souls to destroy every single Shadowkin in existence. Miss Quill saves Charlie. Dorothy is killed by a weeping angel. Ram wakes up. Charlie realizes the true consequences of him using the Cabinet of Souls, and April wakes up, but in shadow form. That is my review for the season finale of Class, which is Class episode 8. So yes, and obviously, as I mentioned, that's all of the TV episodes of Class. You may know what I'm talking about, you may not. Anyway, it will be revealed in tomorrow's episode. But speaking about tomorrow's episode, next time on the Everything Podcast, I'll be reviewing Season 1, Episode 7 of Doctor Who, the first part of the two-part finale of Season 1, titled The Legend of Ruby Sunday. So for the penultimate time, here is the Doctor Who Season 1 trailer.
Give me the loving! Where did he come from?
I don't know, he sort of popped up at the right moment. And then he spoke about time travel.
Ruby, you want to know my secret? I have the whole universe at my fingertips. And I'm all on my own. I'd love it if you came with me.
Who are you?
I'm the Doctor. Time may change me. It's called the TARDIS. It's a time and space machine.
Is it safe?
No idea.
What if I change history by stepping on a butterfly?
Well, that's not gonna happen, is it?
Oh, what's wrong?
With all my adventures, never seen anything like this before.
Oh my, Bridgerton. This place is completely mad.
Things seem to be turning more and more supernatural.
Is that a monster?
No, don't be silly. There's no such thing as monsters. They're just creatures you haven't met yet. There are powers beyond the universe, so vast. The whole world could slide into the pit. Is this what we're trying to stop?
I'm still her mum. I need to know she'll be okay. You'll keep her safe?
I will keep us safe. I promise.
It's taken me all this time to realize what I'm here to do. I'm gonna save the world.
Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Time may change me, but I can't trace time.
That was the Doctor Who Season 1 trailer, and as I said before I showed you the trailer, that is the penultimate time you will see that, the Season 1 trailer for Doctor Who. The final and last time you will see that, the Doctor Who Season 1 trailer will be in my review before I review Empire of Death, which is the Season 1 finale, Season 1, Episode 8, but we're about a week-ish ahead of that, because I haven't written the review for The Legend of Ruby Sunday, which is what I'm going to be reviewing in the last episode. But back to this episode, let me know what you thought about Class Episode 8, and if you watch it, Class as a whole show, and maybe your favourite parts, put those in the comments below, and my review, or reviews of Class, put all of your thoughts on both of those in the comments below, as well as anything else you want me to cover on the channel. It could be a TV show or movie suggestion, it could be something completely different, such as a book, comic, article, newspaper, or some news about your favourite TV show or movie you would like, or an upcoming TV show or movie you would like to talk about. Put those in the comments below as well, and remember you can also like, comment and subscribe. And that's it for this episode of the Everything Podcast. Goodbye.